Why emotional control is more powerful than emotional reaction. That's the foundation of everything. See, most people think strength shows up in how loud you get, how fast you respond, or how hard you clap back. But real power, that's quiet. It's calm. It's the choice to stay grounded when everything in you wants to explode. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you know when your feelings deserve an audience and when they don't. Think about it. Every time you react out of anger, fear, or pain, you hand over your power. You let the other person dictate your next move. That's like playing chess and letting your opponent move both sides of the board. When you control your emotions, though, you stop reacting and start directing. You take the pen back and write your own story instead of letting someone else narrate it. You ever send that long emotional text in the heat of the moment and then regret it 5 minutes later? That's what happens when reaction wins over control. But when you pause, breathe, and choose stillness, something incredible happens. You gain clarity. You start to see the situation for what it is, not what your hurt is trying to make it. Emotional control is not weakness, it's maturity. It's the difference between breaking down and breaking through. It's the skill of saying, I don't have to prove my worth through my reaction. When you master that, you stop giving temporary people permanent influence over your peace. And here's the truth most folks miss. The one who can stay calm in chaos always holds the power. Because when you don't let emotions drive the car, you end up exactly where you're meant to be, in control, confident, and free. How self-worth changes the game in relationships, that's the real turning point. See, a lot of people walk into relationships hoping the other person will make them feel valuable. They think if they get the text, the attention, the validation, then they'll finally feel enough. But self-worth isn't something you borrow from someone else. It's something you build within yourself. When you know your worth, you stop auditioning for roles you were born to play. Here's the truth. The way you see yourself sets the price for how others treat you. If you see yourself as a discount, people will pay you like one. But when you carry yourself like you're the prize, like you bring something real to the table, peace, kindness, strength, people can't help but respect that energy. They might test it, they might doubt it, but they'll feel it. Because confidence, real confidence, doesn't have to shout, it just shows up. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about knowing that your value doesn't change based on someone else's ability to see it. You don't become less worthy because someone left, ghosted, or overlooked you. That's their blindness, not your flaw. Your self-worth is your anchor. It keeps you steady when the waves of emotion try to pull you under. When you understand who you are, you stop chasing people who make you question it. You stop begging for attention that was never yours to beg for. You start attracting folks who match your energy instead of draining it. And that's when the magic happens, because love built on self-worth doesn't beg, it doesn't bargain, and it doesn't break. It simply is. When you stand in that truth, relationships stop defining you. You define them. The difference between reacting to rejection and responding with confidence is everything. See, rejection hurts. No matter how strong you are, it stings. It makes you question yourself, replay every moment, wonder what you could have done differently. But here's what most people miss. Rejection isn't the end of your value. It's the redirection of your path. How you handle that moment determines whether you grow or stay stuck. When you react to rejection, you let emotion run the show. You start texting, explaining, overthinking, trying to convince somebody to see your worth. That's a reaction that's driven by fear, by ego, by the need for validation. But when you respond with confidence, you take a different route. You breathe, you accept what is without forcing what isn't. You understand that no amount of pleading can make someone recognize what they're not ready to see. Reacting says, I need you to choose me so I can feel enough. Responding says, I already know I'm enough, even if you don't choose me. That's the difference. One drains you, the other develops you. One gives your power away, the other builds it stronger. Every no you face isn't a failure. It's feedback. It's life saying that wasn't your door. And when you start responding instead of reacting, you leave space for better doors to open. You stop chasing closure and start claiming clarity. Confidence in rejection doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself too much to collapse over someone's absence. You look at what happened, you learn from it, and then you rise with grace. Because sometimes the most powerful move you can make after rejection isn't to prove your worth, it's to protect your peace. That's how you win without saying a word. The quiet strength of distance and silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. See, we live in a world that tells you to always do something, text back, argue, explain, defend. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. Silence doesn't mean you're weak or that you don't care. It means you've decided that peace matters more than proving a point. When emotions run high, distance gives you space to breathe, to see things clearly, because right after pain comes confusion, and confusion makes you say things you can't take back. But when you step back, when you create that space, you shift from reacting to reflecting. That's where wisdom lives. Distance lets you see who's really reaching out, who's really showing up, and who was only there for convenience. Silence is a mirror. It reflects truth back to people. When you stop chasing, they start noticing. When you stop explaining, they start wondering. But here's the thing. It's not about making them miss you. It's about reclaiming your peace while they figure out theirs. You stop trying to be understood and start understanding yourself. There's power in walking away quietly. It confuses the noise and it centers your soul. The ones meant for you will feel your absence, but more importantly, you will feel your strength. You'll realize that your presence never needed to beg to be felt. In that quiet space, you rebuild, you refocus on your goals, your growth, your glow. And that's when the shift happens. When you stop waiting for someone to value you and start valuing yourself enough to step back. Because sometimes silence isn't the end of a story. It's the beginning of a stronger one. True value doesn't chase validation because it already knows what it's worth. See, when you truly understand your own value, you stop needing people to clap for you, text you, or choose you to feel complete. You become your own confirmation. The problem is, too many of us tie our worth to somebody else's approval. We wait for compliments, attention, or affection to remind us we matter. But here's the truth. The moment you depend on validation, you hand your peace over to someone who might not know how to handle it. Validation feels good. It feeds the ego, but it can starve your spirit if you need it too much. Because what happens when it stops coming? What happens when they stop noticing, stop calling, stop reassuring you? If that silence breaks you, then your worth was never rooted in you. It was borrowed from them. And borrowed confidence always comes due. Real value doesn't chase, it attracts. It walks in the room knowing it belongs there. It doesn't compete, it doesn't compare, it simply is. That's the quiet confidence that makes people pay attention without you asking them to. You ever notice how people start noticing when you stop needing their approval? That's not coincidence. That's energy shifting. When you know your worth, you no longer measure yourself by how much love you receive, but by how much peace you keep. You stop chasing attention and start choosing alignment. You stop trying to be liked and start being authentic. And authenticity, that's the kind of light people can't ignore. So don't go searching for validation in texts, followers, or someone's half-hearted effort. The real validation is when you look in the mirror and know without question you're already enough. That's the kind of confidence no one can take from you. The magic that happens when you focus on your glow, not their attention, is something truly powerful. See, too often we lose ourselves trying to keep someone else interested. We bend, adjust, and dim our own light just to fit into a space that was never built for us. But the moment you stop chasing their attention and start pouring that energy into yourself, everything shifts. That's when you start glowing again. Not because of them, but in spite of them. Your glow isn't about looks or likes. It's about energy. It's that peace in your spirit when you know you're doing the work on yourself. It's when you're healing, growing, smiling without needing a reason. People feel that kind of glow before they even see it. That's why focusing on your glow changes everything. When you're grounded in your purpose, when you're focused on bettering your mind, your habits, your goals, you become magnetic. You stop trying to attract attention and attention starts finding you. There's something irresistible about someone who's genuinely at peace. Someone who isn't waiting on a text to validate their mood. Someone who's too busy building, learning, laughing, and living. That's the kind of person that makes the world take notice. Not because they're trying to, but because their energy speaks louder than words. When you focus on your glow, you stop keeping score. You stop asking, are they watching? And start asking, am I proud of who I'm becoming? And the answer to that question, that's where your power lives. because attention fades, but self-worth shines forever. So keep shining, keep growing, keep glowing, because when you light up from within, the right people won't just notice, they'll respect it. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to walk in your light anyway.